Good evening, guys, and welcome to this evening's live class. How was your day? I believe you all had amazing weekend. And by the way, happy new month. This is the first day in the month of February. All right, and I would like to welcome those that are joining us for the very first time. You are welcome to KayrandDesign Academy, where lives are being transformed to become, giants in the field of graphics design. Okay, this evening we'll be doing amazing topic once again, and that is mastering font magic in graphics design. But I want to plead with you, if you are just joining the live class, you've not attended anyone before, I want to advise you that you go back and then you watch the previous videos that we've done. It will really help you. It will help you to grab and then have full understanding of what we are about to do today. All right, so and we've done amazing topics when it comes to the basic components, of graphics design. Like I usually say, graphic design is not difficult. It is never difficult. It's like cooking food, my usual illustration, so to say. And the components that we have in it are not too many, not like the food that you cook at home and you have a lot of ingredients. They are just four, and one of them is the pictures and the images that we have. The second one is actually the fonts. Some people call it text, some other people call it typeface, depending, but just understand that we are talking about fonts. That's letterings and all those stuffs that around writing stuff. Okay, so and then we equally have lines and shapes. And the amazing thing is that the fourth component is what the whole wear clothes, and that is color. We have talked extensively about color. We have talked extensively about pictures and images, and then lines and shapes. So just reach out to the live session of this channel, and then you will be able to have a grasp on all these topics, all well explained, and I promise you will enjoy it. So let's move back to our today's topic: font magic, in graphics design. The truth of the matter is that the way we use fonts in design goes a long way to tell if the design will be successful or not, and so to say, there are some graphics designs that all that you just have in them are just write-ups. Hope you know that your Bible is a product of graphics design. Your Quran, whatsoever spiritual book that you're using, books that you buy in the bookshops, they are still under graphics design. They are all amazing jobs, and of a particular graphic designer that put them together. So font is very important. I believe some of you are just hearing this for the first time. Your spiritual books, your Bibles, your Quran, all written. Somebody designed how those things will be put in place, and then where this should be, where that should be. All right, so basically what we have in most of our books, textbooks, even in schools and churches and the rest, are basically just write-up. They are just letters, and then you may not even see much of pictures or any other thing. So it is important that we have good understanding of this topic so that we will do well in the fields of graphic design. So which means mind-blowing topic. All right, so the first thing I would like us to do is to introduce us to what we call typography, and that is the art and the technique of arranging letters, characters, symbols to communicate a message, express a visual style, and create a lasting impression. All right, so and the word typography is just to illustrate the art, the process of just using letters, numbers, what have you, signs, all those things that just represent typing. Let me just use that word. So that's what this is talking about. There's no big grammar about it. So whenever you hear typography, it is the art of just using letters, using characters and symbols, and even numbers to do magic in the field of graphics design. And it involves selection, arrangement, and presentation of text to convey meaning, hierarchy, and then emotion. This word emotion is always, surfacing in all the topics that we talk about when it comes to this basic ingredient of graphics design. We talked about emotion in colors, if you remember. We talked about emotion in images and pictures, and now we are talking about it here. The truth of the matter is that if you are carrying out the design and your design in no way is not contributing to the emotion of your audience, just know that you are just doing nothing. Yeah, so it is important that your design is touching the emotion of the intended audience, positively or negatively, depending on the reason why you are designing. All right, so that is just the brief introduction. I don't want us to waste much time, talking about grammars. I want us to face the reality. Yeah, so we will be moving on to see some examples of the flyers. These are catchy flyers and sweet example where fonts is being used properly, and you can see that the way the fonts are being used is making the flyers that you're seeing currently on the screen to be catchy, to be attention driven, and then it's guiding whosoever that is seeing this flyer in the order or in the steps that you should go through this flyer as well. So, and the information are just precise. So if I'm just seeing this flyer for just few seconds, I can easily grab every flyer is all about. And that's the intention of your font, that's the intention of your text, that's the intention of your typeface in your design. So but I would like to show you this design to make further illustration, and I will be helping you to break down this complexity around typography, so to say. So let's look at this design. I believe some of you must have seen this design, and probably this was what launched you into our free class, and eventually you made your way to the masterclass. So I'll be using this to illustrate, designed by one of us in the office here, and that's what we use for our adverts, online here for now. All right, so if you look at this flyer, I have sectioned the flyer into 4 basic categories when it comes to design. Just know that the entire write-up, if you break them down into categories or into sections, they will fall into one of these that you are seeing on the screen currently. The first is the heading, and that is the most important part of any flyer that you're doing. I want us to focus on flyer. We use letters also when we are doing logos and all that. So if you want to have full understanding of logo design, there's also a video on that on this channel. You have a lot of resources, so don't waste your time. Go there and then just watch, and I believe you will improve designing logos. So let's move on. This flyer, we have the first part, which is the heading. And the heading of any flyer is most times, the most visible part of the font represented in that design. So if you are holding a flyer, the biggest thing when it comes to the write-up there is your heading. You know them by size, you know them by style, you know them by the way they are decorated. If you look at this flyer, for instance, now you see that it's big and it's giving attention to have that kind of text effect, that is different from every other thing around here. And what's the heading? Graphic design. And just a small write-up to balance up the heading, which is a free training on smartphone. So it's clear. If anybody is seeing this flyer for just few seconds, you can easily tell this is what this flyer is all about. And if you want to invest the rest of your attention to it, then you come in. The next part that we have there is the subheading. All right, so the subheading is the next part of the flyer. Most times we have this subheading, in size, they are relatively not up to the size of the heading itself. Are you getting it? So, and we don't really spend much attention on them to give them this beautiful look like 3D text effects, and all those stuff. So it is just pointing you to another information embedded in the design. and that is the subheading. After the subheading, which is the highlight in this case, then we have the body of the text. So, and that is where you have the list that we have here. In some other cases where maybe you are designing for a company brochure and company profiles, it may just be write-ups generally about the company. I believe with what I'm explaining here, for a lot of us, we have this understanding relating this with the way we write in school. You are given a book to write in your class. So, and the first thing you write, if you are going to start writing, is the heading. Then possibly there will be some notes, then you now go to subheading. Maybe you're talking about types of something, functions of particular stuff, and all that. So the same way you reason while you are writing in school, that's the same way that graphics design also works. So we have the heading, we have the subheading, then we have the body. Then there's this other part of it at the bottom of the design. It is always called the footnotes. In some cases, we call it footer, So, and that is not necessarily going to be as big as every other part of the font that you have in your design. It is most times just tiny. It's just a piece of information that if your audience did not grab, you may not even bother, but it is just there to make the design look interesting and catchy in a way. All right, so we will be going to the next phase of this live class, and it is getting more interesting. At this stage, I want you to pay good attention, avoid distraction. All these ones that I've been saying all along is just to lay foundation to where we are going. If you have ever been having challenge with the use of fonts, you understand, in design, this is the spot where we are going to be challenged. So let's move on. We have 5 aspects of typography. That is to say, if you are carrying out design, there are 5 aspects. Let me say there are 5 steps that you will count that will make you successful, in making this work in your design. And that is what we focus on right away. We'll be looking at these 5. You are successful at achieving these 5 when using fonts in your design. Believe you me, you are just about to be creating a design that is mind-blowing. All right, so let's check the first one. All right, so the first one is font selection. And font selection is very, very crucial when you are carrying out your design. In fact, it is the first step in this typography game that we're talking about. And it has to do with choosing the right font for the message, audience, and the medium. And I'll be explaining this using the same picture that we initially just saw now. And if you look at this design, it is talking about graphics design. So the fonts here are carefully selected, knowing that this information is meant for people that are in a way adults, they are not children. So I'm not going to be choosing a font that is playful. I'm not going to be choosing a font that that is children friendly. Let me use that word. That is playful. Yeah, that's the word. I'm not going to be choosing a font that is playful because I know my audience. I know the age range of people that I want to communicate with. But at the same time, I will not be choosing a font that will be just too serious. Like I'm talking to people that are in their 70s. All right. So this information is for the age range of certain people, and it is important that the font is chosen, putting or bearing those people in mind. All right. So, and then the second thing is this: when you're choosing font, like we have in this explanation, it must also be considered the medium with which you are going to be using your design. If I'm going to be using my design on a billboard, the kind of font that I'm going to be choosing will be different from the design I'll be using if I'm using it. If the design is meant for just a small flyer that will be shared. The kind of fonts that I'll also be using if the design is going to be on social media is quite different. So all these things will guide your choice of font. But by the way, if you are a masterclass student of this academy, we have a video put together in your training that talks about how to carefully and easily select fonts, pair fonts together for your design. Because if you look at this design, for instance, we have a combination of different types of fonts, and these are not just chosen out of the blues. There are principles, there are codes, and there are rules to selecting fonts and then pairing them together so that they can give you the best result. So if you are a masterclass student in this academy, you can just reach out to your channel where you have the resources, and then there's a topic that talks about how to select fonts. And by the way, if you are just joining us and you would like to actually enroll in this academy to be trained properly, you can also reach out to the number in the description box of this video, and just send a DM, and then you'll be shown how to get enrolled. All right, so the next one is typeface design, and this involves the design of individual character, including their shapes, size, and then spacing. Let me consider the same flyer that we just used just now. If you look at this, attention is now given to design the heading better. It is not just coming up just like that. I can just go ahead and just type something and just put it there. No, graphics design is graphics design. It does not matter how you type, it is still graphics design. But the truth of the matter is, in most cases, when you are carrying out design, after selecting or settling for, this is the kind of font I want to use, you can still go further to now pay attention, to begin to design individual character, including their shapes, the size, the spacing, and all that. All right, there's this trending part of design now that is on board now. If you go everywhere, you see it, people are using it in their designs, and that is uh, text effects, like what you're seeing on the screen currently now. You see that graphics design is not the normal typing, it's not the normal write-up that you just do and then put it there. It has been transformed to something like a 3D effect, right? So, and it will enhance the catchy nature of your design if you put things like this into design. In case you have heard about text effect before, I just wanted to put it in the comment section there, and then let me have your view of what you feel about text effect. Have you used it before, and did it really help your design? And if you like me to do a video on how to do text effects, I want to see your comments, in the comment section. The more I see that comment, then the more I will be moved to actually carry out that video. I will just be showing you how to perform text effects on your design. So let's move on to the next one, which is the third one. All right, the third one is the text composition, and that has to do with arranging text elements such as heading, paragraph, lists to create a clear visual hierarchy. Let's look at our example again. In this design, you see that things are well arranged. We arrange every part or every category of the typography such that you can have this visual hierarchy. When you are reading, you are reading from the heading because of the size and the way it is bold. Then you move to the next one that is looking next to it in size, and that is how human functions generally. We have a way of just moving from big to small in that order. So when you are arranging your fonts in your design, make sure you are doing it in an organized way so that you can command visual hierarchy. It is very, very important. Let me do a recap of what I've said so far in case you are just joining me. We are talking about the basic steps that you must take in order to be successful when you are assigning text or fonts in your design. And we talked about the first one, which is selecting font. You must be able to select your font and select the proper font, and then you ensure that you are matching or you are pairing the right fonts together for your design. All right, then secondly, we talk about typeface, and this has to do with going into designing individual characters that you have in your fonts, and then give them more design so that they can come out well. And then just now we're talking about text composition, that is arranging your elements such as headings and other parts that we just spoke about, such that it can create that visual hierarchy. Then we are moving to the fourth one, which is spacing and alignment. Please, I want you to just focus at this point, because of all that I've been saying all the while, this is causing serious issues in your design. Serious issues in your design. In the masterclass course, we have a topic that talks extensively about alignments, different kind of alignments that we have, and when to use them, how to use them, and all that. I won't be wasting time to talk about them here. So you're in a masterclass student, just reach out to the channel, and then you will have access to this topic well blown. Yeah, so let's move on. I want to talk about spacing and alignment. So let's look at the example that we've been using all the while. If you look at this design, there is a spacing observed between the heading and then the subheading. I believe you can see that where we have graphic design training on smartphone and then the highlight, which is a subheading, you will see that space observed. Did you notice that? It is showing that you are moving from heading to subheading. It's like you are moving from your room to your sitting room, or you are moving from sitting room to your kitchen, wherever in the house. So there is that space between the parlor or the sitting room and the room. There's that space between your toilet and your room. You don't just disappear into the space like that. There's a place you walk through. So that space observed, it is the same idea you will bring into your design when you are carrying out design. You are done with your heading. You should leave a reasonable space between that heading and then the subheading before you continue. And that is what we are doing here. And it's giving that that vibe of whosoever that is going through this flyer to find it easy to read and all that. Now, the moment you come to this highlight, you will observe that we have listing under it, which is the body of the text now. All right. So, and you will also observe equal spacing between each listing. Not that one will be close to the previous one, then the next one will be farther apart. There's this uniformity in spacing that we have given them. I want to please beg you to just pay attention at this point. Look at the spacing. Can you see it? If you look at the fundamental of graphics design, the first listing, then you go to the next one, exploring basic design tools. The next one, logo, flyer, and advert design. You will observe that the spacing are equal. All right, can you see that? Then the moment you come through this listing and then you are done, there is another bigger space observed, showing you that you are leaving this realm to see another thing, which is join now, free access. This spacing will help in your design. These are the things that make your design to look more professional. That is one. Then number two, I want to talk about alignment. Yeah, alignment is very key. Like I told you, we have a topic on it in the masterclass, but let me just say something a bit about it here. It's when you are designing, we have left justification, we have right justification, then we have the center justification, whereby all your text is either moved to one side, left or right, or they are maintained in the middle. And then these are the three basic categories of alignments that we have. When you are carrying out design, if you want to maintain left justification all through, try as much to keep to that. If you want to maintain right justification, try as much to keep to that. And then if you want to do center justification, try as much to keep to that. Honestly, you just need to go back and then explore that teaching. It talks extensively about alignment. All right. So if you look at this design, for instance, you will observe that we are keeping left justification. The graphics design, free training on smartphone, the highlight, everything, they are starting from my right to the left. I hope you notice that. Now, where I now have the text not starting directly on that same alignment, where we have them offset into the design, is where we have the listing. And just like the way you write in your notes, when you're doing things like this, you just begin to huff them in. They are like bullets. When you type normal in Microsoft Word, when you initiate bullet, you will see that the system itself will help you offset it within into the design actually. So the same procedure is what you observe when you are carrying out design. The same spacing. I want you to begin to see design like when you are now dealing with fonts, like you are talking. Assuming when I started this class, I was just good morning, and there's no space, there's no that alignment, all those things are not observed. I'm just talking. Definitely, you will call me a madman. The same way when you turn out a design and then all these things are not observed, people begin to see you like is this one normal? And the truth of the matter is that, especially now that we have the social media just being around us everywhere, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and all that, people don't have time. They have a lot to go through online on daily basis. So they don't have that luxury of time to be wasting time on your own design. They want to just, quickly grab information, and the one that they feel will help them, they stick to that and then make do with it. So please, when you are carrying out the design, just have this understanding. Alignment is always key. Spacing with uniformity is also important. These are the things that make this design so attractive. You can also do what you are saying here, but the problem is that you are not obeying certain rules and instructions, that has to do with design. But by the way, we have exceptions where things that I've just said here are being, not followed duly, and we call that creativity. But there's still a rule guiding using things the wrong way. Let me give you, for instance, maybe the proper way of just writing this graphics design is the first one is graphics. Can you see that? And is a capital letter. Then you have the second one, which is a sentence key. It's just the first letter that is a capital letter. The rest are just small letter. The way it is mixed, well done. I'm sure since I've been explaining, nobody has given an attention and said, "Oh, sir, you should have done everything to be capital letter and all that." These are creativity in designs, and they must be well done, or else they will mess up your design. So let's move to the last aspect when it comes to this part I'm talking about, and that is style embellishment, and this has to do with adding visual interest and personality to text through techniques like bolding, italicize, ornaments, and giving it background. Let's look at our example again. All right, so if you look at this design, you will notice that there are some places where the text are made bold. There are some places where the text are made, to be italicized and all that. Especially when you want to have a footnote, like what I have here is not even italicized, but because the size is already small, so there's no point. But in most cases, you see where you made some things italicized. If you look at my highlight, I made it italicized and all that. All these things make your design to come out well, but you should not abuse the use. You understand? So my highlight should not be competing with the listing. The highlight is a subtopic, so it should not be competing with the listing that we have there. All right, and that is just how to go about this. So it is important that you have that visual interest. Let me also say this, that you see, where you have a text and then the text color is going to be blending with your background, it is important that uh, you introduce a shape, you introduce something just behind to give it a distinctive look. If you look at this join now, assuming that white background is not there, you will really see that join now. It will be difficult to read. The same thing with the free training up here. There are a lot of them like that. So what you do is that you create a background for them, a sub background, so to say, and then you have your text on it, and the text will eventually come out. Honestly speaking, guys, tackling font issues is a major challenge in graphics design, and a lot of people have issues with it. But if you can go through all that I've stated here, you will find using fonts in graphics design so simple and easy. And that brings us to the end of this live class. In summary, uh, typography is a crucial aspect of visual communication that combines art, design, and technical skills to convey meaning and create a lasting impression. So take note, if you are carrying out design and then you are not conveying meaning, people can see your flyer but they can't even understand, they can't have a memory of what the flyer is all about, and you are not creating lasting impression, then you are already doing rubbish. All right, so but if you follow the sequence I've given you, honestly speaking, using fonts in design should not be issue. All right, so thank you for joining this live class. If you have any question, please just drop it in the comment section, and we will of course be picking it up, and then We have another session coming up next week, and that will be on Google Meet, where you can ask questions live and direct based on these topics and other topics that we have ever talked about on this channel. And this is going to be an opportunity available only to the masterclass students. So if you have not subscribed to join the Academy for Training, please just kindly do that so that you will enjoy this package. Thank you for joining us once again. Till I come your way next week to give you another exciting topic. Don't stop being creative, and bye for now.